It's 7 o'clock.
Yes, sir. 7 o'clock. I'll call the town Ossipee Planning Board meeting of March 20th, 2018. Pledge of allegiance, please.
Okay.
I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I thank you.
For all, except for me. I think it's the first time there's no audience.
Can you hear me now, Ed? Roll call, please.
Stephen Quantity,
Yeah.
St. James absent, Martha Eldridge,
Present.
Tim Otterbach,
Here.
Peter Zavas, absent right now, Dennis Legendre,
Here.
Roy Barron,
Yep.
Condict Billings.
Here. I guess I can welcome Martha to our illustrious affairs.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Barron is also re-elected. And I'll call for nominations for chairman and vice chairman.
We can do one at a time, or?
Yes,
I don't care.
we should. I guess it doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter.
I've been trying to give them to years that way, but don't matter.
All right, we'll do it one at a time. I hear any nominations?
Well, I'd like to nominate Connie to be continue being our chairman. Second that.
Made and seconded. Any other nominations? If I declare the nominations closed, all those in favor? Motion is carried.
Well,
Vice chair,
I would like to nominate Roy as vice chair again.
seconded, Dennis?
I'll second that.
All right. Made and seconded. Any other nominations? If none, call for a vote. All those in favor? Motion in the affirmative. We thank you.
You?
You got one meeting this year, you got a chair.
Only one?
One.
I mean, what I gotta do?
You got a chair
Oh, that's all right.
in August. I'll prepare you now.
I've helped chair a couple other meetings other places.
Yeah, I'll be gone. for
Give me
2
5
weeks.
minutes, I'll through it.
All right,
boss,
everybody
keep
read
it
the
straight.
minutes?
I make a motion, we accept them.
Second. Accepted. Made a motion to accept the minutes as read, yeah, as presented. All those in favor? Motion carries. Considering we were only 4 before. Okay, there you go. Under unsatisfied conditions, I have spoken with Fire Chief for West Ossipee, and Verizon is still awaiting one thing from the alarm company, then he'll write the letter. The other one I've got is from Valley Point, and their underground tank has finally been okayed by DES.
That's the tank design, Connie? The tank design?
No, they've accepted everything.
Oh, okay, yeah, but that included the piping.
The pumps.
Got it,
That's all
yeah.
Now for
Okay.
where now?
Valley Point,
So they're
up on 141.
Ready to move on now?
141.
Oh, okay, up in the corner.
Yeah.
The gas
Been a long
station
time
site.
coming.
at 41.
Well, White's garage.
What's that, almost a year?
So that's a go now?
No, they're still ongoing.
Still ongoing?
Yeah, they still got other
Okay.
unsatisfied
Do
conditions.
you,
So what?
do you get trapped into that
The
at all?
underground
What's up?
The Valley Point thing?
tank design is
I know a little about
Design.
it.
by,
Not yet.
so they have authority to put it in.
Guess I didn't get one of them.
Other unsatisfied conditions.
The other one that they're waiting for is DOT to finish,
Oh, the road curb cut?
whatever it is, curb or whatever DOT has got for them. That's all I have on the,
I have a couple of email communications from the Route 16 self-storage. He submitted an email along with a copy of the fire chief's letter, except the fire chief forgot to sign it.
Cannon?
Huh?
That'd be Cannon, the self-storage?
no, self-storage on 16 by 16 variety across from Deer
Is that the
Cap.
bottom?
Oh, from Deer
item
Cap,
on
okay,
our- On our unsatisfied conditions list, okay. So that's 1314 Route 16 LLC.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
That was the one that Scott Lawler was in here to present.
Yep. That was the plans that we had last month, last meeting to sign them. We wouldn't sign them because fire chief hadn't signed off yet.
Right.
We don't know about the water unless you've got a letter from the water.
Water and sewer too, right?
There's
I do
water.
not have a
Well, there was
Letter
a
from them.
septic, there was an old septic system there
There
was
is
some
an old
question
septic
about.
system that Steve and I found.
Well, they weren't sure if there was one or not.
Yeah,
There is.
There is.
According to 1996 plans, there is a
Yeah.
septic system in front of the foundation. Actually, the one I saw is to the side, the tank's in the
Right.
front.
right.
So, until they show up,
They were at the town yesterday.
At this point,
yeah, I know she was. I was there when she came
at
in.
this point, if he pumps the tank, collapses, it's legally discontinued.
He can also pump it and fill it with sand or
Or
whatever.
fill it, yeah,
Yeah.
because the field, you either leave it dead or you just simply dig a hole and bury it anyway,
Right,
either way.
right.
Well, it's gotta be.
That's legal.
We gotta prove that it's been
Right,
decommissioned.
right.
Or installed. Or installed. We don't even know if it's been installed.
Well, that's the
He's gonna-
thing.
That's what he's gonna check.
So, I mean, we technically, we can't sign those until we
Right.
Correct.
I
make
remember when that
those.
was put there, it was.
Now,
Northeast become like
Oh,
it.
God,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the problem, is it's
He's already been contacted.
Oh, okay. Anything else we
Whoever
got?
built it decided not to move there, and then it was sold to the power company.
All right, so we still have to do, the more fit, find out whether,
I've emailed Rick, I'm just waiting on him to
all
reply.
right, you know, this is all we care about.
No,
Gravel pits,
I looked at it. You don't want, you didn't look at that much.
you'll find this,
You
This
jumped
like,
over
you
to
could be
it.
on top of
no,
it.
it is. We got those, you already got them.
Got
Everybody's
your new
got,
books,
yeah. And you got your new site plans.
and you have your new site plan regulations.
We do.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Laura.
You got that, everybody got that?
Yep.
Okay.
And subdivision's coming, right? Eventually.
Don't rush us, please.
Well, I wasn't rushing, I was just asking the obvious questions. No, I already knew the answer.
He knows
He's all
the
of all
answer.
standing in the corner.
Well, you know,
He
already knows that.
somebody's got to fill in for Pete tonight.
We've changed this around a little bit
Okay.
to show when the permit was issued, what the status is, and when it expires. We've had so much work in the last 2 or 3 years that we have not kept up with this.
The ones in yellow are the ones that need to get renewed this year.
Mhm.
I would like the,
And
because
then-
I went through the minutes from 15 and 16, and Browns Ridge came in, Ossipee came in. So, I think we figured them all out. When the ones that are issued are expiring. No, that should be 23. 23 on Gentry. 17 and 6 is 23.
And Gentry just in last year.
Year before.
Year before, okay.
Oh, excuse me, last year, yeah.
Yeah, it was last year.
Yeah, so that should be 2 of 23,
And he's done a hell of a job cleaning up down there.
yeah.
Connie, I've got one question for you. I see down in the lower quarter of the thing, there's a second aggregates pit. And,
That is a stationary, which is grandfathered.
okay, so we are not permitting that.
We no,
can't.
Have no
We
say
can't,
over
we
it.
have no say in it.
Okay,
Have no say in Dallas Pit, which is Green Oaks,
right. And,
LSP Ag, Tilton and Pike.
oh, right,
Ossipee Ag's got one little pit down here on 16 we do have control over.
Yeah.
We do, yeah.
But
That's
the rest of it, we don't. It's all
That's,
state.
that's the White Pond,
yep,
which they came in through.
north, the one that's north of White Pond.
They came in 15,
Right.
renewed it.
Okay,
And at that time, they had a bond, and we made them bring in cash.
They've
Well,
actually
the
found,
bond is no longer allowed.
right.
they've actually dug some out.
All right.
Roy, you've done all of these.
They're all, as far as I can tell, in compliance. I think Barry's maximum opening, but I think they're not over on the acreage.
Well, Barry is expired in 16. Yep.
So he's not gonna renew?
Well, he's got to read. I mean, we've got to do something about these 3, which is up on Chickville.
You want me to get hold of these people?
Well, either that or we've got to write them a letter and state them, tell them that
A reminder letter, either way to do it, I guess.
their permit is expired and,
Or we'll have to shut them down this spring.
yeah,
Maybe 3 years ago.
We don't wanna do that.
no,
He's not even doing
no.
it.
Ambrose will come in.
So a polite letter saying, please show up to renew your permits. We do not want to have
Well,
to shut you down. or
see,
something.
like Ambrose is not due until October.
Well, I can
A
put his
reminder.
letter in that
Yeah.
way.
Just a reminder.
Just a reminder. But, your brother,
What the hell?
Williams operates that now, right?
Evans Brothers, I thought about it.
is he? I know when Eva died, everything went to shit, but,
I don't know why I get the site visit here. 'Cause I go in every year, all these
yeah,
bits.
I know. But I mean,
Hmm?
We don't need a site visit because I go in every year and check these.
This was the spreadsheet that
Yeah.
was in existence.
For the site visit,
I
isn't
don't
accurate.
think he has anything to do with it, right?
Last I knew,
Well,
Evans
no.
Brothers. did
he
take-
does, because the
Well,
property.
he owns
I
property, but I mean,
mentioned
he's-
Barry's
No,
name, but everybody's
the
digging.
permit is in
How is
Muskie's
the old
name,
gent doing? Last I heard he's fighting cancer.
and then he leases it to
Oh,
Evans.
Who owns the pit now?
That's probably why it went last.
must
He's
be
probably not up on
Evans.
it.
Oh, go,
I thought you said
no,
he
I
passed
think
away.
that was the year Eva died,
I know
so,
his wife did.
just let it slip by. I think we ought to just, somebody either talk to him or
Send them a reminder.
send them a reminder.
Yeah,
or
excuse me a
something.
minute. Hi, Rick.
Up to the board. What would you like to do?
Oh, you got it. You forget, yeah, you got the you forget the meeting? You forget about the meeting? It's 7:15, we're going right now.
So what is the consensus of the
Yep.
board? Send them a reminder letter?
For those 3,
Yeah,
yeah, that would be the right thing to do. That way we're at least documented, including the one that hasn't expired yet, just as a reminder.
yeah.
And the other 2, we could just ask them if they're gonna go, if they're intending to continue their operations, and if so, they need to come in and renew their permit.
I know Busky is always late he's supposed to file by April 15th his excavation permit, and he's usually, it's just, I don't know, you know,
Which one is that, Tony?
berry pit.
Oh, right.
Now, we send him a letter, and if you don't get a response right away, I can just drop in and say hello quick and ask him.
Yeah, but
Okay.
He's 2 years behind on his expiration, so.
Yeah. He's pretty good about things, so he's been through a lot.
You
Yeah.
want them sent by Laura, or do you want Laura to make them and I sign them?
What have we done in the past?
We haven't, that's
You
why
haven't?
we're trying to,
I think
we're
that
trying to set up something so that next year, we can look at this in January and say, okay, so-and-so's gotta have a new
Yeah.
permit.
I would say that since we're acting as a board, you as the chair of the board should probably be the one that's, that signs the letters, so that
Okay.
they're aware that it's coming from the board and not just the board secretary that takes you out of the hot seat, so to speak, so they don't have to come back and yell at you.
Well, if it's a general reminder,
Probably don't know anyways.
Yeah, no, but
The
it should be,
secretary
it
can sign
should be
it.
the chair of the
but
board.
for the threat to shut him down, the board should sign it, is the way I look at it.
But a reminder letter should come from the chair anyway, because it is directed by the board.
Yeah, well, she is the secretary. A lot of times we get letters from
Yeah.
secretaries reminding.
I don't know. That's my thought.
Well, so all right, I'll just, Laura and I will put up a letter and, I'll sign them. And we'll make a form letter, so that all we gotta do is change the date. Okay?
And just not to beat a dead horse, but what's the status of Morse? I mean, every week we just keep
We have an
waiting
email into Sager,
again.
and we have not heard him reply.
Yeah,
I
You're
just sent
looking
it
at a
out
long time
tonight, so.
anyways.
again, yeah.
But we're looking at, you're looking at serious issues now.
Yeah, well, I got sit in on a
14
certain
years
case.
and it was-
It's been over a year now.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when we went out and walked the site, whenever it was.
Don't worry, I've had something in front of me for 4 years now.
Yeah, but
Okay.
you're not.
Well, I just thought I'd ask so that I understood where it stood at the moment.
It's gonna be a long time if we know.
Well, it's been a long time already.
And I know, but it's gonna be a lot longer, trust me.
All right.
Okay, we got the gravel pits. Steve's favorite, fence ordinance. We'd like to write a definition for a fence. Few suggestions?
No? I'm leaving this one all up to you, Con. We've been through this. Myself personally, I would leave well enough alone. 6 inches height on the post, higher than the fence, and you measure from the ground to the top of the fence. If you get unlevel ground, if the ground's not even, 6 foot fence is 6 foot fence.
You take an average.
You take an average.
What,
I think you may be opening up a can of worms.
no, what we were thinking a definition of a fence is the height of the panel.
That's how they sell it.
From the ground to the top of the
No,
can.
whatever the, in other words, a panel you buy, it's 4 foot, that's what it'd be, 4 foot panel.
If you got a 6 inch gap, it's still a 4 foot fence.
But the height of the fence then becomes 4'6".
Yeah.
That's the,
Yeah, but they sell the panels, and they never ever put the panels on the ground because it draws more.
I understand, but
You
our
have a dog,
ordinance,
you-
our ordinance
Well, a
determines.
dog is different, you're gonna probably put a chain link.
Yeah, a
Every fence
at
I've
6
seen, you
feet,
measure from the ground
you
to the
know,
top
no
of the
more than
spigot.
6 feet, so if we determine
I
that
don't-
the
I don't-
fence, the top of the fence height is from the ground to the top of the fence panel. Whether the panel's 5, 6, or
But
6
but
feet.
they don't sell them that way.
The thing I'm trying to get away from, and what Steve and I have gone over, Webster's dictionary says fence and post.
Mhm.
Here's the fence. So,
Forget the post. Go by the panel.
well,
That's, I mean, someone like, that's talking before.
that's why I want to get that definition in the zoning ordinances next
There's
year.
nothing that says that I can't go get a building permit from Steve here and say I'm gonna put up a 4 foot fence and put some stakes in the ground that are 10 foot tall and put a 4 foot fence around my house with several poles that are 10, 12 foot high, still a 4 foot fence.
Well,
It's not a 12-foot
And
fence.
whatever, I want a clear definition of a fence. In other words, if you're gonna say the fence is measured by the panel, fine. The height of the panel, that's fine. I don't care.
That would be the simplest way to solve this problem.
Right.
Because as we were talking about before we started, you can buy fence systems, and some of them, the posts might be 2, 3, 4, even 6 inches above
And
the.
I've seen panel that the post is a foot down.
Yeah, exactly.
Underneath.
The code enforcement want to say something?
I know, you want,
May I speak?
No.
I thought you were gonna leave it to us.
I've gotta say it, because I see it. Matter of fact, I was there this morning and I saw it. If you let the people put a 6-foot fence up 15 feet in the air, they will. They're not happy with their neighbors. I was there this morning. 6-foot fence is from the ground to the top of the spigots. If you say it from the post, they're gonna raise that 6-foot fence up 8 feet, 10 feet.
No, we're just talking about the definition of a fence now, not, in other words, is the fence a fence, or is it the fence and the panels in the post, or just the panels?
Just the fence. The posts, I would say that the posts themselves would be an extra 6 inches above, because they got fancy caps.
I understand that. That's why I want to clarify it now. You've got a problem. This is the second time it's come up.
Yeah.
So if you-
I don't have a problem.
No, but I mean, this is the second time it's come up.
If we're gonna,
If you have a fence, like Roy was saying, they sell them in 4, 6, 8 foot. Someone comes and gets a permit, and they're gonna put up an 8-foot fence. We've already said that it goes by the panel, right? That's an 8 foot.
Right.
If they go and raise that up 4 feet off the ground and try to push that off as an 8-foot fence, it's no longer an 8-foot fence. You go from the ground to the
but-
top of the panel. Not
Dennis,
to the
our,
post.
our ordinance already states that there is a height limit based upon the measurement from the ground to the top of the
No,
panel.
it doesn't.
We're just discussing the issue with,
That's the problem.
if we're gonna
It
change our
doesn't
ordinance.
state where the measurement takes from. All it
Oh,
states
I
is
see
6
what you're
foot.
saying.
If we're gonna change the ordinance, we ought to change it to an 8-foot fence from a 6-foot. I'm 6'1", I can look over a 6-foot fence, and ain't kept a hump, no trouble at all. A lot of the privacy fences. If we're gonna change it, let's do it to the top of the thing with no more than 3 inches ground clearance from the ground included, so you'd be 8'3" from the ground. Because wooden fences, you don't want them on the ground. You want a little bit of airspace. We ought to allow for a little bit of airspace plus the panel and call it good. Whether it's 2 inches or 6 inches, but after that, they're in violation. Of course, you got judgment, if you got a dip or something, that, you know.
So you're suggesting what?
To go to the 8-foot fence instead of a 6-foot maximum height, you know what I'm saying? Allow for 3 or 4 inches deep fence so it doesn't rot, you understand what I'm saying? And go by the panel. So if it's an 8-foot fence, you're allowed 8'4" or something like that, so you don't have rot, because moisture wood's like a wick, it just draws it right
So
out.
you wanna take it out of the ZBA as far as the fence?
So I want to get out of ZBA, because people want a privacy fence, they're entitled to a privacy fence. After 8 foot, it goes to ZBA.
Right now, we're 6 foot.
I understand that. A 6-foot fence was fine 30, 40 years ago, most people were about 5'6".
Well, it's not just that, I mean, especially down on the water.
Right.
Stop putting an 8-foot fence in, people aren't gonna be happy, you're taking away the views now.
yeah.
I mean, you like I said, you're opening up a can of worms.
Yeah,
It's very
but-
easy just to go to the ZBA, special exception.
Yeah, but they can plant trees and take away the view.
Initially, what we probably need to do is address the issue with the height of the fence by definition, and not get carried away with the post being higher, because we know that the posts
Right.
more often than not are slightly higher. So if we say in the appropriate language that a fence is whatever our zoning right now, I don't remember what the actual wording
The
is, but
structure right now, it says.
what section is
structures,
that? Okay.
Page 77. Under structure.
About 6 feet.
Right.
See,
But it's under structure.
If the brush is clear between me and my neighbor, I put a fence up, he's higher than I am, 6-foot fence with me again, that gives me
So
any
what
price.
we need to do is create a definition for fence.
That's what,
Yep.
Just how to measure a fence is all
Right.
you need.
you gotta have a definition of a fence.
But we can't define the fence as a structure, we just call it,
Well, they're saying anything over 6 feet, the
Right,
fence is a
right.
structure.
right,
Which, if I have livestock, I usually put up depending on the livestock, an 8-foot fence.
yeah. I mean, some people have goats and they only put up a 5-foot fence.
Yeah, right.
or
I don't keep it going in.
Well,
No.
no, depends on the goats too.
A lot of people now, instead of, are using
So,
electric.
so ideally, we need to, number one, generate a definition for a fence, which says,
Just how to measure it.
yeah, exactly, a fence is measured from the ground to the top of the pickets,
Exactly.
or the top of the furthest most
It would be distinct.
member of the fence, whether it's the top rail, because some of them have a cap rail on them or something like that.
Not the post, fence.
No, I'm talking about the fence. Some panels
From the
have
ground
a,
to the top.
have a horizontal, piece on top, so I would just say,
Well, I mean,
whatever that
if you
is.
get a three split rail fence,
Right,
you're gonna have 3 rails.
the top of the rail, whatever the top of the highest member of the fence panel is.
Top of the fence without the post.
Right, above
Simple as
ground,
that.
above ground.
Post
Well,
don't count.
Measured from the ground to the highest member.
Top
of the-
of
right.
whatever the fence is, not including the
So we're
post.
really defining the height of a fence.
Well, we're trying to, yeah.
Yeah, and we should probably then have language in there that says post height not included, because that way we're not locked into, creating a dimension,
Well,
because we
no.
don't know what that is. That's an industry standard that's
I
wide
would
open.
say that definition of fence is a panel or rail held by posts. And the measurement shall be no more than 2 inches off the ground for the height of the panel. You gotta give them some leeway there to get it off the
Yeah,
ground.
yeah, but you don't want to exceed 4 inches, because then you create an entrapment condition for kids.
Right. What, the rail and bottom of a railing is what, 2 inches to,
What,
when you have a railing on a porch?
4 inches.
4 inches on the bottom?
Yep.
4 inches.
All right, so you can
Now,
have,
what I'm thinking, I think I know where you're going, but if you go out and measure a fence, and I could be wrong, they're not gonna be the 6 foot, they're gonna be 5 foot something, when you go and buy a brand new fence.
I don't know.
Yeah, I
I've
mean, you gotta.
never put a panel on.
You've gotta look into
I just put
bought-
some up.
I have bought 6-foot panels,
Yeah.
they were 6 foot at the top of the
I
picket.
just put some up, so let me take some measurements and I'll contact
I
Laura and
know,
let you know.
But the picket fence you buy, when you buy a 6-foot panel, they are exactly 6 foot from the bottom
Yeah.
to the top of the pit.
For the straight picket type fences.
Right.
The ones that have the vertical panels with the lattice above, sometimes those are 5'11"
Yeah.
or something like that.
The ones I bought were exactly 6 foot. You bought a 6-foot fence, if you bought a 6-foot
The
fence.
vinyl one on 16 is under 6 feet, it's got a gap,
Depends on the company,
yeah,
Right.
or how you wanna order it.
yeah.
So I would suggest that we think about this for the next meeting. We also, if you're going to
Do some homework on the fence panel sizes.
add something that is like 4 feet from the ground, 4 inches from the ground,
Mhm.
and a 6-foot panel, then we have to change this structure
The
to
ordinance.
8 foot, 8 foot.
It's simple, it's maximum 4 inches from the ground. And
Yeah,
a 6-foot
not
panel.
to
Well,
exceed 4 inches, because
That-
that's
Yeah, but
your.
then you're saying to somebody,
So your 8-foot fence would be a maximum 4 inches, the top of the 8 foot, but you still go to ZBA. Because you're in regulation, if you're saying you put a 6-foot fence up with a maximum 4-inch gap, right? So you wouldn't have to
No.
worry about the changing it to 8 foot.
it just says the structure, just says exceeding 6 feet
I would certainly investigate a little more, just table it for tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you
I mean,
gotta
I'd
throw
hate to see it go over 6 feet, leave it where it is as far as the structure being a structure.
Well,
Okay,
I'm gonna propose this, since I'm going up to Home Depot and Lowe's sometime between now and our next meeting. I'll just measure every one of their panels up there, just to get a feel for it, but I think you're right, Roy.
Yep.
The standard largest panel you can buy right now, other than going to some custom stuff, is 6 feet. I mean, you can buy 8-foot panels, but most everybody around, most fence places don't carry them. The tallest one I've seen is
Someplace did,
6.
but once again, it's already an ordinance.
No, but I'm just saying, but you make a good point, that if we allow them up to, but not exceeding that 4-inch bottom gap, which satisfies the life safety code.
Up on the farm, we had 4, we had 6, we had some 8-footers,
Yeah.
and we bought them that way, right from,
So
preachers at
next
the time.
meeting, we'll come up with some language. In the meantime, I'll do a little research as well.
well, that's why I gave it to you last week to see,
Yeah,
you know, when, come up
By
with
by the
something.
house's bedroom side, we had 8-foot panels.
yeah. Okay.
Can I ask a question? They put a fence around the dumpsters down here at the new Dollar General. How high is that fence? Because the dumpsters, a normal 6-foot fence doesn't cover a dumpster.
Well, it depends on the size of the dumpster.
An average dumpster is 6 feet tall.
No, that's not true.
No,
Well,
No. There are
they have-
many different sizes.
They have
Business
smaller
dumpsters
ones.
are over 6 foot.
Now, those dumpsters over there are gonna be 6 feet tall, because they're
That'd be on your
average
site, that
size
should be
dumpster.
on your site plan.
Yeah.
But,
Should be
but-
right here.
But you guys would know that, right?
We don't have the site plan right here in front of us, but
But-
that's where it would be. Yeah.
But that fence has gotta be over 6 feet.
Yeah, but if that's approved the site plan, they don't, you know, it's.
Right, but I'm just saying.
That was a
Well,
good-
It's not a
Doesn't look
residential.
bad, does it? If you go by it, you see the fence all the time.
Yeah. But
Well,
that's-
that's certainly
That's
something that we
information
should
I
also
gathered.
consider,
That's all the
because,
information I gather.
I mean, you are right, that some of the commercial dumpsters,
What is this?
the larger ones, are like 6.5 feet tall.
Yeah, but we can approve those for a business site.
Based on
This is true, this is true.
changes made in the RSA. It's just minor wording.
Oh, what is this guy?
But this says meetings of the Board of Adjustment, meetings of the Board of Adjustment, both.
Right, but it's still in the zoning place.
Yeah, Board of Adjustment, which is ZBA, not planning.
It's still a zoning ordinance.
Yeah, we approved the zoning ordinance.
No, we don't approve anything.
We make changes to the zoning ordinance.
Correct.
We make changes and they have to be voted
And
on.
then they have to be
Right,
voted
right.
on.
Right,
But
And how was this generated, Laura?
I did that.
Based upon new RSA regulations?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And it's just minor wording changes. It pertains to mailings.
Oh,
When
right.
you're sending out to abutters, they always stated it had to be certified, now they're saying verified mailings. So it could be certified, it could be other forms of mailings, whether,
Return receipt requested, whatever, right.
that's basically the biggest part of it. Some of it I just added the RSA into it.
so we have to adopt this. Make a motion that we adopt proposed 25.3 procedures to be voted on by the town of Ossipee March of 2019.
I'll second that.
Discuss this a little bit more here.
What?
We'll talk about 25.3,
Yeah.
both of them.
25.3 is the current, proposed is on the bottom.
Well, it's 25.3.3 for meetings and hearings.
Yeah, but you had more than 3 board members
When they
here
showed up.
to vote on
Oh, you
anything.
found it.
Those 3 members is not a,
It is in the ZBA.
yeah, it is. But we vote for this for our board or for the ZBA?
No, it has to go, 25.3 is already in our, already in our
Zoning ordinance.
zoning ordinance.
So why are we voting on it?
We are,
Because there's
we have to
wording
present
changes
it to
that
the
took
town
place.
To change this.
Oh,
the
we're
state
just doing
changed
the
the
word
RSA.
changing, okay. All right.
We're just bringing it up to date to
Bring
what
it
the
up to date.
RSA
That's
got
what I wanted to
changed
know.
to.
right.
Correct.
Makes more sense now. Now, what are the ones that have to change it then?
We have to change, we
Okay.
propose the change to the town.
Yeah.
And then it goes up to vote in March.
Correct.
Okay, now I'm up to
March
speed.
of
Thank you.
2000.
This is our first
19.
zoning ordinance, we're gonna change for the year.
Yeah,
Now I understand where we're going with it. Great, okay, thank you.
I have a motion on the floor, no second.
Yeah, there was a second. He did it.
Second,
Oh, you seconded it?
yep.
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
Ended.
Any other discussion on it? All in favor of presenting this? 1, 2, 3. 5 or 4. All right. Motion carries. Opposed? No, Rick. Motion carries. Laura is also giving you this planning board for, some other ideas, so we can mull these over. And the next meeting, I propose that we come up with some,
I researched other towns, other states as to what their zoning ordinance is pertaining to fences. And that's the summary of what I came across. Plus, I also contacted the New Hampshire Municipal Association to see if they had a definition out there somewhere, and that replies to that as
there
well.
is no RSA pertaining to fences in the state of New Hampshire.
Who responded to that?
Stephen Buckley.
Well, up to you.
Thank you, sir.
We'll set a precedent, Connie. And then we'll have Ed pitch it downstate.
Okay, whole business is more spit, we've already talked about that, now we'll go back to the big buggeroo. Master plan. I need ideas. I've spoken to 2 or 3 people. And of course, they haven't gotten back to us. One of them being Josh Arnold.
Do you really need a master plan?
Yes.
We-
No.
And the debate begins.
If you don't have one, your zoning's no good.
No, we have a master plan.
So it also has to be kept on.
No, it does not. It says, you read it, the RSA, from time to time to bring it up to date. And there's no set period. Everybody says, oh, you gotta do it every 5 years. No. So does anyone have anything that they'd like to throw out on the master plan?
Where does the rewrite stand at this point? So not even one section was rewritten
No,
or
Yeah.
modified or,
no, because
The committee would never get together long enough. Bob wrote some stuff up that,
I could fill you in on, if you wanna know what happened. I was on that committee.
yeah, I know.
We met a couple, 3 times. I don't think, Rick, you may have come to one. And
Yep.
Bob had 2 or 3 other meetings that I attended. And, we pretty much didn't stay on issue. Got off on all other things, and we never got anything done, basically.
And Bob wrote a bunch of stuff on his own.
well, what I suggest we do, if possible, is that we get whatever Bob had in hand, so that at least we know what progress, if any, was made, and
There
that we.
wasn't.
That we,
What did
well,
he
I mean, I'm
progress?
just saying as far as what was written, if anything was drafted, that you know.
Wasn't
never
liked, if I
submitted
remember
anything.
correctly,
Okay.
put it politely.
So with that
So whether
said,
he wrote anything or not, it was never submitted.
It was never, he and I talked about it one day,
right,
and he showed me, and he did give me a bunch of papers, and, I thought it was off base.
yeah,
What I wanna do is to sit down, make a table of contents
right,
to start with.
right,
Then we go to each chapter from, in that table.
and build the chapters based either on what's already existing, or build off of it, or start from fresh, or eliminate.
If you read the master plan,
Yeah, yeah.
it's so far out of date.
Oh, I understand, I've seen it,
And
it's,
what Pat put in it is just,
right,
it's really, I mean,
There are some things in there.
there are
that
some
carry
things,
over.
but not,
I mean,
not a heck of a
all-
lot.
and quite honestly, it is a tool for future growth and development in the town, if you will. I mean, that's kind of a general statement, so there's a possibility that we could benefit from having some input from, our business development group in town.
Well, the economic
They were
group
supposed
is,
to write-
Economic, yeah, economic development.
by Ash Fish Mine, I told Nash last fall that we were gonna start on it.
Yeah,
I have not heard back from him on to what he wants. I saw Josh Allen quite a while ago,
Right.
and I reminded him again Wednesday at
Yeah.
the town meeting,
right,
and said, Josh, we wanna do, well, what do you want? I said, show us what you want.
yeah.
This is, Ossipee, listen, is supposed to
So,
be in contact with everybody.
Conservation is the same way, they were supposed to get,
yeah.
And
So perhaps what we do then, Connie, is, again, I hate to say this, but this is the best way to do it. Draft a letter to those two entities, or those two persons in those two entities, requesting them to provide for us at our next meeting some kind of guidelines, ideas, thoughts, outlines, or maybe 2 meetings away, I don't know, I'm just throwing this out as a suggestion.
This is gonna be a long process.
Well, no, just to get started. In other words, we gotta set them a timetable
It's a whole
because,
list of all the different entities that we need to touch base
well,
with.
I wasn't finished, but I was gonna say, including other entities in town, because all the other departments in town should have some input in the master plan, because they all are going to be, you know, it'll be a guideline for them to utilize moving into the future.
I gotta
So-
say, maybe all the businesses in town should be sent a letter to ask if they got ideas.
Yeah, I mean, we could.
Hanford's all of them.
Yeah.
what's the committee that, you know, with Rick, you and Bob, they could provide a lot of help too, right?
The Lakes Region
Lakes
Planning.
Region
Yeah,
Planning.
they got quite a library.
Yeah,
I mean, they
Yeah.
cover a lot of,
Actually,
but
Bob's
we've
on.
never tapped
You
it.
know, all right.
No.
I'm supposed to be on, but I haven't heard when the meetings are yet. So,
But I don't think you have to attend a meeting, I think you can.
oh yeah, you just go to
request
their
some of that
website.
information.
Yeah, you can go to the Lakes Region Planning Council's website, and they have an immense amount of information, not on just master plans, but other things
Well,
relative to future planning.
they also have helped quite a few towns, I've noticed, like Tamworth, I think, is now
Actually-
working on a master plan with them.
Right.
will I have,
Moultonborough, I believe, is
Yes.
worked on them.
Yeah,
will I
I
have
know
to be
Marlboro has.
reappointed that way, just for you, we got reelected?
Ask your selectmen, I don't believe so.
Okay,
What's it called again?
Lakes Region
Lakes
Planning.
Region Planning
The
Council.
Lake Region
Commission.
Planning, I'd have to be reappointed, I believe. Or I just
No.
got reelected.
No,
No,
not, well, your appointment used to be 3
Appointment.
years, I
Yeah.
don't know what it is.
Is,
Oh, all right.
Bob Gillette still gonna do that, even though he's no longer with this board?
Legally, you can't.
yes, he can.
Can you?
sure, he can be.
Any
Ah,
citizen,
it's
any
odd.
citizen
I didn't realize
in the
that.
town of Ossipee can
If
be
I'm
appointed.
not mistaken, he was showing some interest in still being on it, but we won't know until he returns, and he'll be back in a few weeks.
He said he'd be back the end of March,
Yep,
and that he would
Yeah.
like to be
an alternate.
an alternate, but he did not run because he was going to be out of town too much.
He was gonna be
A lot
traveling
this
a
year,
lot.
you said.
Yeah, he's gonna be traveling a lot this year.
So I don't know what he's got going, that's his.
Yeah.
personal-
Actually, next couple of years where he talks to me traveling a lot.
What's that?
Well, he told me out here last time he was here that the next year or two, he's gonna be doing a lot of traveling.
Yeah, yeah.
Not just this year, next couple of years.
Do you think that it would be worthwhile, once we have a couple of discussions on what we're gonna set up as a table of contents, and we start on individual chapters?
Yes.
That we do that on a separate day for an hour or two? One night during the week where you can invite people who wanna come in and have input and work on
Workshop.
just that and nothing else?
Well,
Or can you
ideally,
do that?
I agree with what you're saying, Dennis, but ideally, we need to have, there needs to be a person that generates the draft document, distributes to all of us, and then we have an opportunity to digest it, knock down some educated comments, and then we bring it to one of our meetings to discuss. So I think, I mean, procedurally, that's how I would proceed if I were doing it. I mean, I worked on one downstate many years ago, and that's how we handled it, was
No,
very
you should have
successful.
just one guy do it. I think you should have a couple people do it.
Well, you need somebody to generate the draft, I mean, physically create the document. It's
Wow.
not his thoughts and processes, it's just his manually inputting a document onto paper.
I believe,
You can't do this by committee.
no, you can't, but like Ash Fishbein, Economic Committee, should present us with his ideas or the Economic Committee's ideas.
Right.
Josh Arnold gives us what Ossipee listens and Gala
Right,
thinks.
right.
We take them and we have them break it down into present, future, hopeful.
Right, right.
What other way you're gonna put it, because
right.
whatever you put down on paper today, tomorrow it's gonna be outdated.
And these are just guidelines to
Yeah.
steer us into the future, but also to give us an opportunity to look forward and say, this is where we believe we want to be 10 years from now, 5 years from now. That's not locked in stone, but it gives you a blueprint to move forward. And, but like you were saying, for example, economic
I'll
development.
get to you, Donald.
Economic development, for example, I've seen towns that have had master plans that one chapter was on economic development. And I think
Yeah,
that's
well, I
fine.
mean, that's my vision.
Exactly, and I think
Is
that's, you know,
what, the history of Ossipee, present
right,
Ossipee, future Ossipee.
across the spectrum of all of the different
Correct.
facets of the town. I mean, whether it's highway department or conservation or, you know, whatever department it is in town, you know, recreation,
Right.
schools, whatever. I mean, it all relates to the growth and development of the town and what direction we want to steer it in based upon the guideline. Like you say, it's not cast in stone because tomorrow everything could change. But you
Oh,
have to have
absolutely.
something to start with.
It's like the town voted in taxation on improvements.
Right,
If we had written this last year, you couldn't have put that in there. Now, all of a sudden, you got another tool economically.
right, right,
Which you can include in the master, yes.
right.
I just wanted to mention that the Economic Development Committee, which I was at their last meeting, is working on this actually. And
Yeah.
if you were paying attention at the town meeting,
Yeah.
when everybody came to vote, they put out questionnaires for people to answer. So
Yeah,
they're
I see.
actually putting all of this information together, and they're gonna have something to present. And actually, they did talk to the selectmen about it, I believe, a week or two ago, about this exact subject.
Yep.
And they're gonna present something that they have ideas from everybody in town that they've gotten.
Well,
So,
that,
so
no,
they're,
that was Ossipee listening.
well, it was the Economic Development Committee, because I was at the meeting.
Ossipee listening was the ones that put on
The questionnaire.
not the questionnaire, but the seminar they had.
Oh,
Where
right.
you moved from place
No,
to
no, no.
place, you wrote a whole bunch of ideas down, and that's
No,
what
no, no,
Allison.
no, 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 no,
That's
no.
what Allison
I'm talking about
presented.
something completely different. I was at that meeting also, that was a different thing. I was
Well,
at
that
the,
was 2 weeks ago.
right, I was at the Ossipee Economic Development Committee meeting, and then at the town vote, when everybody came in to vote, voting day, they had a little questionnaire paperwork that you
I
filled
never
out.
saw it.
Yeah,
It was right after you came out of the voting
I
booth.
filled one out.
Everybody was filling them out, and they were dropping them into the
I
thing.
didn't see that.
They had-
And that's the Economic Development Committee, that's not Ossipee List,
Yeah.
because I was confused as to what one was,
Okay.
and I asked at the
But
meeting, what is what?
With that said, so there is one group that is actively pursuing a bit and piece of updating our master
Oh, us
plan.
be listening
Yeah,
is,
yeah,
and
yeah.
economic is on the business side. Some of the things that Ossipee Listening had on there, the seminar, whatever you wanna call it, was a little far-fetched. I mean, some of the stuff that people wanted was the money for
Yeah,
it.
that's, but you
And-
gotta remember, a master plan does not identify anything
No, it doesn't.
relative to a dollar value. What it is, it's almost like a wish list.
Yeah,
And, you know, that wish list for some item could carry on for the next 30 or 40 years. And eventually it might occur based upon, let's say, the population doubling in 30 years or whatever, but right now it wouldn't happen. The idea is getting it on paper so people are, it's one more piece that people can use to make decisions about the growth and development of the town. And what direction the town.
I'll stick my neck out for your conservation committee.
Okay?
I don't wanna see any more conservation land in town. We've got too much now.
You know, we are at, in the ballpark of 24 to 29%.
29%.
And, well, you know, you're looking at the state standards, and about 70% of that land is non-buildable parcels because it's wet or too steep.
But
But,
Tim, the town of Effingham
you know,
is overridden with conservation land.
Yeah.
There is no place to put a business in the town of Effingham, and they are screaming because their taxes are so high.
and that's why I think we're at that point. And of course, there is that unwritten recommendation, or whatever you want to call it, by the state that says they recommend, based upon where they want to see the state go, that each town have something in the vicinity of 20 or 24% of their land in
I
conservation.
understand
I
it.
agree with what you're saying. I think we have
We-
hit that
The
threshold.
state's not paying my taxes.
No, but what I'm saying is, it has to do with, you know, the
You know-
growth and development of the state as an entire entity, which all the towns are part of. But with that said, yes, I agree, Connie, I think we are at that point.
We are at a point now with conservation land,
Mhm.
current use land,
Current use.
and municipal and church land in this town is over 60% of land use. Do you realize that?
Conservation and current use,
Conservation, current use, municipalities,
right?
and churches are all tax-free comparatively.
Well, they're paying taxes, but they're not increasing.
No, they're
But
not.
current use, the property can come out of current use, correct?
Correct, with a big thing, but they're not paying a full tax rate.
Right. Well, and that's.
So you got the county,
You get no arguments from you, Connie, about conservation land. I mean, believe me, I, just to shoulder that for a moment, and I was just talking to Laura before the meeting, one of the responsibilities we have as stewards to the conservation land is some parcels we have to do a physical observation walk, whatever on, and I'm in the throes of that, and I don't wanna have to do that any more than already. I mean, I did walk the 100 acres over on Depot Road, which was a great parcel of land, and I thought we should have some trails there. You know, but we have other parcels that I'm gonna be walking in the next 2 weeks, but, you know, I agree,
I
I
mean,
think we have hit that threshold.
I don't wanna tell some landowner that they can't do it,
No, but we have to look at it from a reasonable standpoint, that we already have an immense amount of real estate in this town, in
Yeah.
conservation. We are protecting our wetlands, we are protecting our steep slope sites, we are protecting some of our view sites. We have the Ossipee Mountains, you know, I mean, so I think we're at that. Now we look at how we can enhance that with development, and that's where the master plan comes in.
Well, the planning board, they were still over in the town hall, so that's gotta be 10 years ago. they brought up that steep slope to try to get it passed.
Exactly 10 years ago.
And Roy and I sat there, and they didn't realize what 15% was.
Mean 50% slope?
A slope of 15%.
They thought it was this.
No.
No,
I measured out on the floor.
Well, you figure a 90-degree angle vertical is 100%.
Yeah.
So a 45 is 50%.
Yeah.
22 and a half,
I measured out on the floor, the distance they're
It's
talking about.
25%.
Measured it out, and they were shocked that the lawn in the front of the town hall was steeper than what they,
right.
yeah.
what they said
Right,
it was.
right.
They said, I said, no,
Well,
you
that's,
can't do
that's
anything.
why I say, I believe we have hit that, we have reached that threshold where it's no longer going to benefit in any great way the town to have additional conservation parcels, unless it's like you said, it's a piece of wetlands that somebody has, and, you know, but it can't be developed anyway because of federal guidelines and
Right.
state guidelines, and
But I mean,
so I think we have hit that threshold, and I think you're correct that we probably wanna certainly consider.
We don't want
more
to discourage
carefully.
somebody from doing it,
Right,
but
right.
we encourage them to think twice about it.
And at this point, those parcels, I mean, I was just looking at a couple today that are, you know, like 7, 8 acre, 12 acre, 14 acre parcels. And where they are, I can see why they were put into conservation, because they're, most of it's wetlands next to a pond or something. But if you have a, you know, a 50 acre parcel out in the woods up on
Thurley
Ossipee
Mountain.
Mountain Road,
Go up on Thurley Mountain.
yeah, exactly.
That,
I mean,
all of that is beautiful
yep,
land.
Yep,
And I don't know whether Dan Hope bought it or,
there's several
Somebody bought
parcels
it,
up
right?
there, yeah, there's several parcels that are up there under different people's, different organizations' oversight. But I agree, I think we have hit that
I mean,
threshold where
and
we want to consider.
the other, I mean,
More
I
carefully any
love
large
the
parcels.
Overlook
Yeah.
as a place, but
Yeah,
I don't see it any revenue for the town.
well, we've talked about
Could
that
be
too.
used as a revenue for the
Yeah,
town.
I think there is a revenue generator there. At some point, there's a foundation, a well, and we could put a septic system in, create a visitor center there that's a multifaceted
Well, that's-
visitor center, and down the road. And it generates revenue
How does it generate revenue?
by attracting people to spend time in Ossipee as opposed to passing through. And this is where we had some discussions with business development
Well,
about
I mean,
that,
this is what we discussed with
economic development,
Blotto.
right.
But there's something that the Conservation Committee could write up
Mhm.
as a
Something,
for the
input
master plan.
for them, absolutely, absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, we sit around and talk about it, we'll find out.
No, but it
But
will
you-
get started.
I mean, you look at it and it's a very big piece to do.
It's a huge task, but the
But
blueprint's
then all
there.
of a sudden, somebody will say something like you said, generate revenue. Okay, now there's you can focus on that,
Sure, sure.
you know, and somebody else is gonna come up with a few ideas here and there, everywhere, and eventually we'll get a book.
No, no.
It might take us a year.
And that's fine. I think the point now is to get started.
And I
We've had a
think,
lot of discussions since I've been on the planning board, and even since I've been on Conservation Commission, there's been a lot of discussion about the master plan, moving it forward. And that's all it's been, is a lot of discussion. Nothing
Well, your
is
master
actually put on
plan-
paper.
your master plan is also based on you, somewhat on your zoning.
But on the other
And-
hand, your master plan also
and-
helps guide you to revise your zoning as
Well, we're
the
gonna-
town grows.
The ordinances have to be revised.
Yes, yes.
There is no question in my
Yes,
mind. And one of the things that I think about is that we approved, ZBA approved in a commercial zone, you only can go in 200 feet. Evans Brothers said, we want to go 500 feet to get off the road.
Mm,
So they had to go to the ZBA,
Right.
get it done, come back to us,
mhm.
and You know, if we had a 500 or 1,000 or the whole lot.
You're talking about, for example, something like a business park or
I thought-
something
Right.
like
I
that.
thought
Yeah.
we did go the whole lot.
No, we
Yeah,
don't.
no. But I know what you're saying. If you, let's say someplace off of 16, somebody has a big lot that's very deep, and it's a perfect spot to develop a business park or something like that.
We were discussing the whole lot.
Why not?
What happened to that?
Hey, I'll have to look it up, Roy, but
Because I thought that
I
passed.
thought we passed too, but I'm not sure, but
Thought it did too.
I would think I was sitting here for
That
that.
passed.
anyway,
What's
it's another example.
Yeah, I
The whole
agree.
law.
Another example, which is a beautiful place,
Mhm.
is John Day's old pit that we made him spend $100,000 to fix.
Which site is that?
Across from Ossipee House Pizza. You don't notice it.
Oh, I
because-
know the one you're talking about. Yeah, there's a little pond down in there that I fished in.
Yeah.
Yes.
That would make a wonderful industrial park.
Right, light industry or
You go in there,
business park,
you've got a
yeah.
road already built in there, you've got a buffer on the road.
A lot of the site development work is already done for
Can
you.
I throw an idea out? If you're working on master plan, can you work on maybe combining the police department, fire department, public works building into one area? Maybe get them out of the center of town so we can have some parking for the businesses that they wanna bring in?
These are the kinds of
That's
things that come out of, when, it is expensive.
It's
Roy,
expensive, but
this
it's
is the kind
worth
of thing
it.
that comes out of different departments'
Well, the
input
police
down the road.
department- The police department says they're under, they need a larger space.
Yeah, they
just
have a-
Well,
They
they
have a
will in
pretty-
the future, I'm
No,
sure.
A pretty ragged building,
they-
when you think about it.
They are undersized for what they are, but
And certainly, somebody's input, whether it's the police department, highway department, the selectmen, whomever, provides input to the organization that's developing the master plan. You know, somebody might just come and say, yeah, we want police services more or less geographically located in the middle of town. And if you look at a map and throw a dart at it and say, this is where the new police station goes, so that becomes part of the discussion and maybe part of the long-term planning for the master plan.
We just put an expensive addition on the highway department. I don't want to see.
Well, no, I
didn't
you
vote
know,
for
I
it.
the
don't.
highway is fine.
Yeah.
The highway is fine.
No,
My vision in 1980s, 87 or 88, I ran for selectman. My idea that I brought up was at the corner of Pine River Road, 16 and 16B, the state owns the land.
which parcel, Con?
Pine River Road,
Yeah, but on the east side of 16,
it's on the east side of 16,
north of Pine River Road?
north of Pine River.
No kidding.
That whole section
Yeah, it's a
is
huge,
owned by the state.
huge parcel.
My idea was to combine the three departments, fire departments, and the police department,
Create
Put
a
'em in
municipal
there.
building.
put them in there. The dispatcher was a police officer,
Mhm,
a jail cell,
mhm,
2 firemen, 1 an EMT.
right.
You have a fire, you still have your substations.
Right.
You have a fire, they're out the door with that first engine.
Mm-hmm.
The second guy's got the ambulance right
Mhm.
behind him.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd be first on the scene, they might save somebody.
Well, and they're also a little more centrally located right off of the main
Right.
artery in town. Again, this is where I think something input from those departments would be good so that, you know, to go to the
You weren't
police
here,
chief or the,
Tim.
no, but I'm just saying, go to the
No,
police
you
chief.
weren't here when they tried MRI, what was it, MRI? Tried to get a survey to combine all three.
Oh, I
And
heard
the-
about it. No, I
and the
heard
three
about it.
little
I heard
curve
about
tips
it.
Said no.
It ain't gonna happen.
No, I heard about it. Yeah, well, we've got 3 different entities butting heads because they all want to be, you know, chief in their teepees, so. But that's the way it is. But what I'm saying is down the road, somebody's vision says, okay, as the town grows, this is the logical thing to do because growth projects, you know, in this area, commercial here, industrial here, residential, whatever. You know, maybe this is where we have a municipal center, maybe this is where we have another, you know, retail node, you know. I mean, it's all a matter of determining what we want for our town.
Do you know what this town spends on the 3 fire departments, the police department, and the highway department? Without salary? Without
I
salary?
don't this year, but last year, actually the year that they were talking about combining the three, I went back and looked at that because I remember some discussions several years ago when they were talking about it. It was in the papers and everything, and I was floored because there's a lot of duplication.
Oh,
A lot.
yes.
I mean, I was stunned when I found out 2 of the 3 fire stations, so to speak, have ladder trucks. And the only reason the 3rd one didn't have a ladder truck is because they couldn't afford it. And I'm thinking, yes, we do have a need for one because we do have some big building footprints where a ladder can reach over to get them, but why would we need to?
We need to
Well,
get back on subject.
But anyway, I'm
No,
just
I mean,
saying.
We're going back.
No, but.
I have a question.
We spend over $3 million on those 3 departments.
Mhm.
That's quite a thing. Yes, Dennis?
I understand the need of a master plan, but I don't think it should be that well organized. It should be a basic plan, because I'll say this about it. We can sit here and say, okay, we're gonna have this section of land down here. This is gonna be great land for housing. And then this would be a great place for an industrial park.
That's not
But
what
wait
a
minute
master
now.
plan does, Dennis.
Well, it does kind of divide out the area, your future, right? You're planning, because you've seen it on some of the maps.
Well,
So
you're
what happens?
identifying.
Someone comes into town, and they want to put an industrial park, where you may have had plans at a later time for conservation, or maybe for housing, and it wasn't meant for industrial. They offer to bring in an industrial park and put a couple hundred people to work. Guess what? The master plan's not gonna be used on that. Selectmen, if they're gonna do their
The
job.
master plan doesn't get used on specific projects, Dennis. A master
No,
plan
but
is just, it's like pulling out a US atlas, and you're gonna drive from Boston to San Francisco. You could go 1,000 different ways. That booklet does not tell you how to get from A to B. It's just, here are your options. It's providing you with options. It gives you some guidelines.
Well, the thing,
I just don't
Dennis,
think it should be all that.
yeah, but your illustration has one flaw. And that flaw is this board in this town.
And zoning.
Because the town has designated certain areas, residential, commercial, etc.
Yeah.
There is no light industry area in this town.
Nope, not at all.
No,
No.
I'm just saying that we're gonna change our mind about this if someone comes in and offers these jobs.
Right,
in this business.
but-
We're gonna make room for them.
but
I mean, which stands
It
to reason.
might take a vote of the entire town
I
to
have no
do
problem
what
with
that
that.
person wants to do.
Right, right.
have no
I know
problem with that.
somebody that has a piece down on Browns Ridge Road in 16. He asked this town for permission to put a motel in, and they said no.
Where's Browns Ridge?
Brown Ridge down there
Browns
about
Ridge
16.
Road, by the Wakefield line,
Oh, okay, yep,
there was
yep,
a sand pit there.
yep.
He asked permission years ago to put a motel in there, and the town said no.
Hmm.
So, you know, we can vision things. But if it's up to the town itself in the
Right.
final say.
But again, the master plan can even give you some guidelines to help you understand that that need may occur 10 years from now, or 15 or 20 years from now, that perhaps now we don't have a site where, you know, we don't have a site where a motel can go in certain parts of town, and, you know, maybe 10 years from now, we look at it and say, we really do want it, because, you know, more and more people are wanting to use Ossipee as a destination for their vacations and whatever, and you want to be able to house them, and if the rentals are locked in at a certain number, you have to have
Okay.
those rooms available. So yes, I think the master plan can do all of that without being so restrictive that it
Well,
It's not like you have to follow it 100%.
All right,
It's
let's-
it's guidelines.
let's wrap this up. then.
Okay.
And all I ask you is that I'm looking forward to that. Just keep in the back of your mind. If you think of something, write it down, bring it in, we'll discuss it, and we can go from there.
Okay.
And I think that's the easiest way, and we will,
Not gonna happen overnight.
Are you
no.
gonna take them chapter by chapter?
You have to. You absolutely have to, but you
Well,
have to do
first
it.
of all, Dennis, I think we've got to have an outline.
Right, sure, sure.
And once we get the outline, and I'd like everybody to think about the outline, then we can go, okay, let's, the history and, you know, well, census, et cetera. We don't wanna do that now, we wanna wait for the 2020 census or something to that effect. Just giving it as an example. So we'll skip to where we think land should be used. We work on that for a while,
And it's
kind of
not,
butt heads and-
it's not unreasonable to consider that by the time the 2020 census is done, we have a pretty good hardcore draft of the master plan done, and you tailor it to the demographics of the town at that point in
you
time,
know, I mean, we're gonna have to use demographics as they're produced.
at any given time.
And, you know,
Right?
somebody can bring in some graphics that say, gee, we can use this, okay, let's work on that this week. And we just run it over and make a rough sketch, and next time we come back, we refine it. You got any other notices, ma'am? Any other business come in front of us?
Uh,
Yes, sir.
I wanted to bring something up. I was waiting for Rick to be here because I didn't think it was right to say anything while he wasn't here, but, we're here as representatives of the town. And when people take time out of their day to come in here to voice their opinion about something, whether we like it or not, it's unfair for us, and actually it's an insult to them and us, for someone to get up and walk out. And you've done it twice now.
Yep.
And that's wrong. It really is. It's disgraceful. People take the time out to come here. You may not like what they have to say, but they have every right to say it. We represent them.
I don't think
I
this
just
should be
want to
done.
bring that up because I don't want to see you do it again.
Okay. Dennis is sad to say. Yes, Mr. Cole.
The Ossipee Economic Development Committee wishes to inform you that their meeting is next Tuesday at 6 o'clock, and that you're welcome. And they would like, just a heads up, if you're going to attend, that way they can put you on the agenda. And number two, the Lakes Region Planning Commission meeting, the next meeting is Monday, April 23rd at 6 p.m.
Where?
April 23rd?
So Monday, April 23rd,
Does it say where at?
up at their offices in, wherever their office is.
It's in Merida.
Yeah.
Meredith.
That's it.
All righty. Anyone else? Dallas, you got any kind words for us?
I'm just here to listen, maybe ask a couple of questions, yeah.
Steve?
Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, you've been pretty quiet tonight.
Very quiet.
You get what he wants, it's got loaded in.
The average wooden fence is 5.91, and the average vinyl fence is 6 feet high. I found that out tonight.
You know what I'm gonna ask you to do then? You're the one that wants to enforce it.
Leave well enough alone.
No, you're the one that wants,
He's gonna have you write something up for us to review.
I'm not going. This is all yours.
Another
Gordon.
can opener.
Okay.
I'll sit down.
I don't, all right, if it's gonna be ours, Steve,
We'll write it up.
then we'll write it up and we'll present it to the town. And
Absolutely.
you will have to abide by what we write. You don't wanna
I
put the
will
two vents
take
in.
what you write and I will present it to the selectmen and give them.
The
my
selectmen
thoughts.
don't have a thing to do with it.
If they're gonna recommend this for next year's ordinance.
They
do.
don't recommend anything from the planning board for an ordinance.
Very good.
You read what is on a ballot question. And it says recommended by the planning board, not recommended by the selectmen.
So be it, Connie, write it up.
So, I'm just asking you, because you are the zoning officer, you have to enforce these,
I gave you my thoughts.
all right?
So noted.
Motion to adjourn.
Made,
Second.
seconded by Dennis. All those in favor? Thank you very much. Bye.
Welcome aboard, Martha.
Add real quickly,